given that low control that they have around the job, high workload that they would have, issues that they would have with the employer, arguments, complaints, dissatisfaction with what's being provided, how it's being provided, has been identified as a risk factor for them developing depression as well. So in a study, they found that if you've had an issue with your employer within the last 3 months, there was a higher risk of your employee developing depression. I guess another aspect is the interpersonal relationships at work, given that you come from diverse cultural backgrounds, there's always that scope for misunderstanding, culturally, not being sensitive to a co-worker. One of the other bits is because a lot of the low-income migrant workers move to Qatar, they don't have a family support system. And so, the adjustment, how well do they adjust to Qatar as a country? The lack of family support in the process, lack of peers to support you in how you would normally cope and adjust back home. So I guess all of those play its own element in that risk within that framework of interpersonal relationships. There's also lack of development from a career development point of view. A lot of them, especially the low-income workers, they come at a specific job role and they probably remain there for a really long period of time. The opportunity to take breaks, to go home, to go back to family is also missing within the low-income workers. Many of them go home maybe once in 2 years, once in 5 years. And so, you really are very, very separated from, your support system. And within that low-income worker group as well, quite often, you do see financial strain because they're here for work, they have loans, responsibilities back home. And so not being able to cater to that adds on to that personal stress and pressure that they experience. So, that homework interface kind of makes it really, really hard and challenging for the lower income workers. For the high income workers as well, that the lack of control is a strong element that you face over here. Just makes them more vulnerable to the impact that it has on them as individuals, as employees. The environment that they work in, the equipments that they have to help them in the process. Like, I was talking to a few frontline workers who've been involved in cleaning and housekeeping during the pandemic, and this is not specifically in Qatar, but I've been listening to some of the experiences coming in from the region as well, and they've been talking about how during the pandemic time, just not having access to PPEs to help them in the process, right? I mean, the expectation is that, it's okay for them to be out there. And I guess that's where there is a lack of employee focused approach. It's very much task focused and task based, and how it's about you're here for a job and you need to get the job done, as opposed to, the human element and the human touch to it.